Sam, don't say that on the live stream. Alright, well, don't distract me then. Yeah. No, not yet, in the lobby. Sam, any chance you could just leave it, give me a better peace of mind? Yes. No, but you're trying to have a conversation with me. No, I'd rather you just leave. Alright, so finally, we are underway. Sorry about the delay. Finally, we have started, and we are following the first car that was to leave the pits, which is Spag Bob. We'll watch him around his flying lap around Sochi Autodrome, this 5.8 kilometer circuit. very easy to spin it in the last sector, so it's also a very easy track to have an invalidated lap on. So we'll have to see how they fare this evening. Spag Bob starting his final lap, and the car behind him is Jay Parsons. Not yet got the results for last week's race. They still need to sort of be worked out, but provisionally Tommy Reel did get pole and did get the race win. That was on his debut race. Tommy is not here this evening, unfortunately. But we do have our championship leader, A Silence, the only Haas driver here this evening once again. Egypt opted for the Mercedes car with his reserve role this evening. Also TP5Y in the Alfa Romeo. It's nice to finally see an Alfa Romeo on the track. And I think that's it for reserve drivers. Oh, and that nicely done to just avoid it being invalidated from Spag Bob. Oh, and he goes off just three corners from the finish. He's gone off, and that's not going to be any good for his time. It's going to be Jay Parsons that goes to the top. The 133.370. Slipstream down this start finish straight is going to be very handy, and Glizzy sets the new fastest lap time. So, and then Callum goes even faster than that, and then Razek gets faster than that. Can't keep up with myself. Egypt's invalidated his lap. Cypher is on his outlap, Taylor on his outlap, and TP5R on his outlap. But let's see how our championship leaders do in the fastest sector 2. Absolutely flying on the way into sector 3. So all A Silence has to do with this lap is beat Razek's benchmark time of 131.747. And around the final corner, he goes across the line, not far from the final corner to the line, and A Silence does set the fastest lap time by about 4/10. We'll watch our qualifying king. It's got to be said. Taylor doesn't set the fastest sector 1, but it is one of 3 sectors. He's got plenty of time to improve. It's not the fastest sector 2 either for Taylor, so we'll have to see where about he comes out in the top 10, the top 8 drivers even that have set their lap times around the final corner. Not a very long drive from the final corner to the line, but he does still get fastest, 131.169. That is Taylor at the top of the timings. So A Silence is coming into the pits for him. TP5Y is going to set a lap time. It's 136.65, the slowest of the time set so far. So he's going to want to improve on that one if he's He's got hopes of getting higher up. Still 4 drivers yet to set a time. Tune-tastic, not even left the pits yet. And this is Egypt on his reserve drive for Mercedes. Let's see whereabouts he can put this car on this temporary drive. First time this season that we've had both Mercedes cars on track. And he puts it into 6th, 132.480. That's Cypher going into the pits there. Still yet to set a lap time. That's TP5Y. Going a little bit too fast on those softs that you might want to keep nice and fresh. So we've got both Red Bulls on an outlap. And it's RaceX following Callum. So come the final corner, depending on their distance, Callum RaceX could get a nice slipstream down that start-finish straight. And we've just had Jacob join. Won't be able to take part in qualifying, but if he wishes to stay, then he will be able to participate in the race. Okay, so just about 9 minutes of qualifying remaining. Oh, Jacob has got into qualifying. So RaceX has got a nice tow down that start-finish straight from his teammate, but it has invalidated. So, and so has Callum. That's Grace on an outlap, currently in 7th with 132.503. I think there is room for improvement on that one. Let's have a look. K-Dot on a flying lap, just coming around the final corner now. Short dash to the line. What's he going to get? Is he going to get better? He's going to get much better. He's going to move up by 3 places. Sets a new time of 132.424. We've got plenty of cars on track now. Just the Mercedes VU Drip sat in the pits. Dizzy starting his flying lap. And that is Tune-tastic, I believe, or JJish actually. Oh, Tune-tastic sets the fastest set to 1. We'll stick on board with Tune-tastic around this lap of Sochi. So all drivers are getting themselves out there now to get a lap time set. There isn't one driver that is sat in the pits, and that is Ace Silence retired from the session. He's not going to improve on his time. It's a 131.360 that's going to stick for him. But Tune-tastic gets above him, and Ace Silence is going to have nothing to do about that. He's not going to be able to get back above him. Oh, and that is nasty from Ace Silence. So he's not going to get any better than 3rd place. He's only going to move down from there. Obviously, if drivers below him can set a faster lap time. Nicely done from Tunitastic. Puts himself onto the provisionally onto the front row. Someone's just moved up. That is JJ into 6th place. Brilliant that from him. That is one of the Red Bulls coming round. And it looks like Callum missed the pits. And that is Razak's heading into the pits also. TP5Y is about to finish off his final lap, coming around the final few corners now. And he is not far off from that finishing line. Is he going to improve on that lap time? Yes, he is, not by much in position standards, but he improved by around 2 seconds, which is pretty good for him. And Jay Parsons, I think, just started a lap. Both Mercedes very close to each other on track. I'm assuming that they're going to be getting some sort of slipstream. Yep, Egypt moves out of the way of Taylor's way, giving him a nice tow down that start-finish straight. It's going to give him that little bit extra speed that he needs to shave off those milliseconds, which might come in handy towards the end of qualifying. Jacob sets his lap time also with a 1:34.021, puts TP5Y down into 14th. That is Jacob retired. Oh, I just missed that. We could start to see a few drivers making mistakes as they start to push a bit harder towards the end of the session. This is the and spinning out of the way is the Ferrari of Jay Parsons, I believe. And Taylor's not going to stick with it. He invalidated, and that is him into the pits. And I can't quite see the time, so I'm not going to be able to say if he's got a lap time in or not. No, he might be able to just about get another lap in just in time. Cypher around the final corner. Is he going to improve? Yes, he does by 9 seconds. Oh wait, no, my bad. That was he was down by 9 seconds. So definitely does not improve there. TP5Y's got a very nice slipstream off Ferrari of Cypher. That is if TP5Y is going to go again on the mediums. I believe the only driver to do so, to have a lap on the mediums. So it could be a strategic masterclass for TP5Y if I can just get tyres. Cypher is on mediums also. Tunitastic is on his outlap, and so is Taylor, just coming out of the pits, trying to get that lap time just that little bit shorter. Razek's on a flying lap though, currently in 4th. Grace, though, brilliant performance so far, in 5th, beating out one of last season's championship protagonists. Callum, who is sitting in 6th place. Oh, and that is Razek's out. That is Razek, who's not going to be able to improve on his time. He's stuck with the 1:31 .747 Egypt retired from the session. We might start to see drivers retiring for the fact of they're not going to have time to improve, so they get the car out of the way. Well, actually, I'm looking at it. That looks like Egypt's in the middle of the track, so if I can find the right bloody car. Oh, yeah, that definitely was not on purpose. That looked to be pushing too hard, and he's pushed himself into an accident there. So let's just try and find which car this is that's heading around the final sector. It's the Williams of last year's champion, and the one that's hoping to keep himself in the spotlight. Is Tunetastic going to improve? Yes, he does, and he takes pole position because of it. But is Grace going to be able to improve enough from 5th place? Nope, only improves by 4/10. It's not enough to move up any positions. TP5Y doesn't move up either. But Taylor, oh, and he's invalidated. That is going to be oh, that was Glizzy and K Dot, I believe. That sent Glizzy spinning over the line and forced into a DNF right at the end there. But that is going to be I believe that's the finishing order. I don't think anyone's going to be looking for an improvement. Unless this is actually K-Dot driving. But I believe that it's probably an AI. It is an AI. I don't think any of these are actually... Yeah, that is that. Tunetastic on pole position. For the Russian Grand Prix, and Taylor is going to be joining him on the front row. Ace Silence, the reigning the man that is sitting on the top of the championship standings, is in P3, and Razex finishes off the 2nd row. Surely this can't be Taylor's actually driving, because I'm sure he sounds like it is. I thought that he crossed the line right at the end, so he would have made it his AI, but clearly not. Is he going to be able to make something of this final lifeline of a lap? Is the qualifying king of this league going to stick it on pole? Can he improve by the time that he needs? Just 2/10. That's all he needs, and he's got it. That is Taylor in a last minute and a lifeline of a lap. Taylor takes pole position. There is Taylor on pole position by 4/10. That is a beautiful performance from him. So that has switched up the front row. Just a swap of drivers, really. But a brilliant lap time and a brilliant qualifying for Taylor in the end. Okay, and we are finally through that qualifying screen, and we can finally get underway. So it's been a lot of waiting, and we finally get to watch some racing. And TV5Y has stupidly already been disqualified from the formation lap. Very smart. Okay, and the cars finally have made their way around the formation lap. The cars just making their last adjustments on the grid. And we'll just wait for oh, that's definitely not right, is it? Okay, 4 and 5 lights in Russia, and it's lights out and away we go. Taylor in the Mercedes gets a brilliant start, best start he could have wished for, and that is overall going to be the best start that he's probably going to get out of this. Tunatastic is already losing the position. Tay Silence going side by side into turn 1, and it's a massive mix up at the back of the grid. Also almost contact from Ace Silence and Tunatastic, still scrapping away for the position. Razek's trying to put himself into the action as well. It's difficult to say. Oh, and it looks like Tunatastic could have the upper hand on a Silence there. Oh, Grace just going for a little bit of late braking, trying to put herself into the spotlight, trying to put herself into that front view. Cypher down in 13th, dropped a few positions. So has Jacob. TP5Y up to 11th place. Asans though and Tunatastic still scrapping away for that P2 position as Taylor is looking to draw lap 1 to a close and keeping himself very comfortably in the lead. It's Mercedes at the front and Mercedes at the back. Taylor at the front, Egypt in dead last. Okay, so this is Lizzie and K Dot. Oh, and he just very nearly K-Dot very nearly turned in on the Williams of JGS there. Very aggressive turn into turn 1 from the Alpine. And let's get down to Cypher and TP5Y. Just as they come to the end of sector 1, they are side by side. Oh, and just avoiding contact. And that is Cypher into 12th place. Bit of a mix-up in positions going on around the midfield. Oh, and 3 drivers look to be scrapping for the place of that's currently being occupied by Jade Parsons in 8th. Let's get a quick run down to and follow Callum as he closes in on the rear end of Glizzy. But it just doesn't seem like an overtaking opportunity is going to arise at this point, but DRS is open for a lot of the field. It's going to be crucial. DRS is going to be crucial. There are a lot of drivers are within that 1 second margin that they need to get the DRS. A silence though, 3-second time penalty. That could be crucial towards the end of the race. Also, Grace into 4th place. And but Razek's very closely following behind. I've not got my stuff sorted. So very nicely done to hold the lead, get a brilliant start from Taylor in the Mercedes. TP5Y has left the session and is also in P15. It seems like nothing's going to be coming out of this race for him. Have a few cars diving into the pits. Spag Bob, Egypt and Callum all going into the pits, whether it's for damage or just a change of strategy. Yep, that is that's Spag Bob without a front wing there. But Callum has already made his tyre changes and is on his way out of the pit lane. So let's get a view of this battle between Glizzy and Jade Parsons. Actually, no, we're not. We are just going to switch it back up to Jajish and Grace. Jajish, Grace, and Razex in a close battle to try and get themselves as close to the podium position as possible. Razex currently in the prime position, but Grace could be going for something. Just about in the last sector, and Grace has moved up a position and is now in P4. She has got past the Red Bull of Razex, and JJ is still sitting down in 6th place. With a slipstream down the start finish straight though, is Razex going to make anything of the DRS that he's going to have available to him? There it is, the rear flap of that rear wing on the Red Bull is open. Grace tries to defend, but it's just not going to be enough for to keep the position. Oh, but she still does into turn 1. Razak's getting very close to the rear end of the Aston Martin. JGS has entered the pits. Not sure if it's for damage. Oh, wrong way. Here we have Jay Parsons, K. Dot, and Alaftari of Glizzy in a scrap for 6th place. People sort of having their own little scraps. And Spagbob is out of the session. I'm not sure whereabouts that is. That looks, yeah, that's in the pits. Oh, and A Science is getting very close to Tunatastic. DRS open. He's going to have the speed that he needs down towards turn 1. Is he going to have the room that he needs, though, to take the position? Yes, he does. What a brilliant overtake from A Silence to take P2. But Tunatastic is going to fight back around the long sweeping left-hander in sector 1 of Sochi. Oh, and there's contact between the two. Tunatastic just nudging A Silence across the curb. There is most definitely plenty to watch. Definitely plenty to watch this race. We'll get on board with Jay Parsons as he's looking for an overtake on K. Dot, and we could be witnessing that right now. DRS open on the Ferrari. They're going to go side by side, but he's not got much room to do it now. He is in front of the Alpine, but has he got the corner? Yes, he does. He's got the corner and he's got the position. Jay Parsons moves into P6. That is Grace and Razex. Grace is going to have DRS going down towards turn 1, but also, more importantly, so is A Silence on Tunatastic. A Silence is going to move out way before the corner, and he's got that position done with plenty of time to spare. But Tunatastic gets a 3-second time penalty. Must be due to extending track limits. Isan's holding that second position nicely. He's got to keep that second position for the remainder of the race to keep his champion hopes alight. And that is Jay Parsons out of the race. After a battle going on for a good few laps with K. Dot and yeah, I think K. Dot and Glizzy, I believe. That is Jay Parsons out of the race. It is a safety car. People are getting plenty of penalties, but Taylor and A Sans are going to go into the pits now. It's mediums for the race leader. Oh, and he's had to slow down quite drastically in the pits as the Williams of Tunatastic came out in front of him, and Cypher on the mediums goes into the lead. Let's see how old those mediums exactly are, because if they are reasonably new, Jay Parsons will be in with a brilliant finish if he keeps it together. So let's get this 7-lap old medium's not the freshest, but also not the oldest. He's going to have to pit again, but judging on how long he can make those last, a swap to the softs around lap 20 could go very nicely for Cypher. Okay, that is TP5Y ghosting. He won't be receiving any points if he remains ghosted. So we'll have to see if he joins back later on in the race. So Cypher leading in the race now, 7 on the 7-lap old mediums. However, everyone behind him is on some either very soft, very fresh mediums or slightly worn mediums. The only drivers to not opt for the medium tyre is E-Drip on the softs and TP5Y on the hards, but it is AI driving, so it doesn't really count. Cypher very aggressively heating up his tyres. He's doing it the Michael Schumacher way. I believe it's going to be safety car in this lap. Cypher for the first time is going to be controlling the start of this race and of any race so far in this league. Yep, and the safety car goes in, and it's going to be up to Cypher to choose when to go. He's going to leave it to the last minute. It seems there he is. And he's gone, and he gets across the line, but Taylor's going to go straight for it. I think I can see. So from the rear view of Cypher's Ferrari, Taylor's fighting for the first place position, but they've already reached turn 1. Taylor's going to go the long way round, but it is not going to go well for Cypher as he makes contact with Taylor, and he is sent spinning at turn 1. That is Cypher all the way now down in 13th place. And it is Taylor back into P1. Okay, so just looking at what some of the closest battles on track are. This is probably the closest one you're going to be able to see, and it's Tunitastic and A-Sounds battling once again for P2. Tunitastic just looks down the inside of turn 1, but he moves back in. Doesn't think he could have made that one. I believe that TP5Y is still ghosted. Yeah. Jacob running the race down in 11th place with his driver wearing no helmet. Oh, and he's also ghosted. So that is going to be at the minute TP5Y and Jacob, who won't get any points for their race today. Paydot is going to be looking to make a move on Glizzy. A-Silence nearly just got within 1 second of Taylor, but it seems to have just slipped away that little bit. Grace Razex once again scrapping it for P4. Grace doing very well to keep herself in the running for these top positions. So as Taylor begins to slip away from A-Silence, Tunitastic and A-Silence seem to get closer and closer, side by side, but it's not quite going to go the way Tunitastic would have wanted to go, but he's going to go for another go, but it's just wheel banging between the Haas and the Williams. Yeah, so nearly every driver's got a 3-second time penalty. Oh, and there's wheel touching from Egypt and Jajish. A little bit of contact between the two. Egypt holding himself in the extra points. Just does constant touch contact between Egypt and Jajish. Jajish's got to go for it. He's got to back off. He's going to go around the outside for onto corners, but Egypt has chosen to go into the pits, take a change from those soft tyres onto something new. And Tastic still watching the rear end of the Haas. There's a nice big clump of drivers looking at getting some positions as Grace has moved down to 6th. Glizzy is taking over and put his Alpha Tauri into 5th place. The car to follow from Razaks in P4. Okay, so JJ in A Sands, sorry, not JJ in A Sands, Tastic in A Sands, going for a little scrap once again. Oh, and there was wheel banging between the Williams and the Haas, but Tastic seems to have got the overtake done this time round. But A Sands has pulled off a brilliant switch back, and it is him back into P2. But they're going to go side by side once again as they follow the final sequence of corners of lap 15. We are just shy of 10 laps remaining. Make it even better for Tastic. He's got DRS and he's going for the overtake down the inside. Oh, and there was contact there, and it's not going to be an overtake this time round again for Tastic. So the closest of battles on track has to be this one. It is Glizzy and Grace. Oh, and Grace has got that one done. Oh, but Glizzy has fought back and he's got the fifth P5 back off Grace, but K-Dot is trying to play himself into contention for this position also. And these three drivers incredibly close now. It could provide a quite the switch up throughout the race. 10 laps remaining now of this race. Cypher on fresh softs. Quite a odd mood, and so Jacob, Jadis and TP5Y all ghosted, meaning they aren't in the session anymore, therefore will not be scoring any points this race. Makes it even. Oh, and that is Grace spun out after contact, after a close battle between K-Dot and Glizzy. Grace has been spun and sent down into P8, and that is going to take some recovery to get back up to those positions. Taylor can't be missed, leading a stellar race so far. Very nicely run for him. Finally, could this work out to be a pole position to a win for Taylor? Never really does work out that way, but can it this time? Once again, very close racing between Tunatask and Ace Silence. Last time they were this close, they did make contact, and Tunatastic couldn't really afford to make an overtake. But this time round, he's very close to the back of the Haas, and he's going to get DRS any second now, actually. Just as he goes around this corner, he's going to reach the DRS zone, and he's going to have that rear wing open, giving him that drag reduction that he needs to get those extra few miles an hour. But it's not going to be enough as he's hit the braking zone to go under the bridge, and it's not going to be done there. But down the start finish straight, it seems to be where he's gaining the most time. It's most definitely the best place you can have a slipstream. So it'll have to be we'll have to watch it down this start finish straight. Tunatastic and Ace Silence. Ace Silence in P2. Tunatastic hunting down that P2. He's got the DRS. But once again, he's following the Haas. He's going to go for it. Oh, he was a bit conflicted on which way to go. He's looking down the inside. He tried to go for a switch back, and it just resulted in him seeming like he didn't really know which way to go. As Ace Silence closed off that overtaking possibility for Tunatastic. Oh, and that is K-Dot. Took a little bit too much curb, and he's just... Oh, and I need to reset the track. Certified melon. So that is going to be a time penalty for K-Dot. My bad, wrong button. So let's get an update on penalties. Okay, so really not good for Ace Silence. 6 seconds worth of time penalties. Our race leader has 6 seconds, which, if he loses any more time, really, he's gonna possibly result in him losing the race lead. Oh, and there is more contact between the Haas and the Williams as they once again go for a scrap down the start-finish straight down towards turn 1. They both have DRS because of the back marker of TP5Y, but it's not going to happen once again. Tunetastic being very patient and waiting for a moment where he can get this overtake done nice and clean. Just waiting for the right moment. So I think I'll leave you on this battle just while I go and get a drink. I will be back as soon as I can, but I will leave you with this Ace Silence and Tunetastic battle whilst I'm away. Okay, and I've come back to a safety car, and it's K-Dot, who is the one that is out of the race. I'm obviously not sure what happened, because I wasn't even here. But plenty of cars have dived into the pits, with 3 laps remaining only. Taylor still leading the race. Let's get a quick look at tyres as well. Yeah, that is Taylor going into the pits. There's not going to be any chance that Glizzy's going to catch up, so he's not in for any surprises. That is obviously if all the drivers behind Taylor behind him pit, and a silence has not. He's going to stick himself with the 16-lap-old mediums. However, he has got that pretty hefty time penalty. So he's going to struggle to gain the time that he needs to get away from Taylor. And even Tunatastic with no penalties whatsoever. Neither is Razor. Oh, never mind. Yes, he does have a penalty. Let me just get a quick update on penalties. Okay, yep, so his has gone up to 12 seconds. Razak, so it's just 3 seconds. So Egypt, the only driver that's actually racing at the minute with no penalties, which is surprising for once. And the race has restarted. The safety car has gone in. Ace Sands gets a brilliant start off the restart. Taylor though is going to be hunting him down on those fresh soft tyres. He's not going to make a move down turn 1. He's just going to play it patient. He's got the fresh tyres. He's got the better options. He's going to go the long way round on this sweeping left-hander, and he's going to go for it. No, and he's just missed out there. But Tunatastic has made the most of that opportunity. Tunatastic has put himself into P2. Taylor now P3. Time penalties are going to be a big factor towards the end of the race. I'm going to have no idea who's going to finish where. And EU Drip has retired from the session now. That is EU Drip out of the race. We won't be able to see what happened there exactly, but big scrap for the lead now. Tunatastic very close to Ace Silence. There are several drivers very close to Ace Silence. All the way down to 5th. It definitely within a shot of getting this win. It's all going to come down though to penalties in the end. but for track position, it's just a bit of fun. And then Tunitastic, he's got the prime position to get past a Silence, but is it going to happen? He's very close, and it looks like it's just he's and side by side. Very nicely done those for all the drivers to keep it on the track. Taylor moves into P2, pushes Tunitastic to the very far outside of that left-hander. Oh, and Tunitastic just holds on that spin. Very nicely done to hold it together. Glizzy into P3. Brilliant performance so far. If Glizzy can hold this position, and as I say that, Tunitastic takes the position back off Glizzy, and Glizzy is put into P4. But the final lap of the race, and Taylor, the man who's been on pole position for the past for a good few races now, but has never succeeded in following it up with a win. We saw it with Tommy Reel last week, pole position to a win, but time penalty is going to play a big part. Taylor has basically got track position on that, but is it going to change? No, it's not. Taylor is the Russian Grand Prix winner. Taylor has won from pole position to a race win, finally, for the Mercedes driver. Good points for Mercedes. Well, half of Mercedes. Razak gets a brilliant performance and gets P2. Tunitastic fighting for that P2 and for P1 for the entire race, and he has come out with P3. Glizzy, brilliant performance from him to get P4. A Silence in P5. Grace, pretty decent performance in P6. Callum, an absolute shocker in P7. Okay, and that is your finishing order. Taylor finally got a win from pole position after a very nicely controlled race and a hectic last few laps. He's finally managed to pull that one off. Razex gets P2, Tunitastic P3, Glizzy P4, a Silence in the Haas, who's been fighting for that P2 all race alongside Tunitastic, gets put down to P5 after penalties are applied. Then Grace in P6, Callum with an absolute shocker in P7, Cypher in P8, Jacob P9, Jajish, TP5Y and EU Drip had their ghost racing, so therefore their positions and points will not be allowed, and they will score no points. But for DNFs, it is K. EU Drip, K. J. Parsons and Spagbob. They did not finish the race in the end. EU Drip taken out on the final lap. Alright, and that is it for the Russian Grand Prix. Next weekend it is Brazil, Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Definitely is going to be a good one next week, especially if it's anything like the real life Brazilian Grand Prix we got last year. Okay, thank you for watching, and apologies for the delays that we had at the beginning of the stream, and see you next week.